Hello everyone. Today we are going to review the movie Roadhouse from 1989. So this movie is officially 30, I guess it would be 32 now, wouldn't it? 32 years old, if my math on that is correct, I believe. Yes, I think. Anyway, close, 31 or 32, one of the two. No, it would be 32 because we're into 2021 now. Yeah, I don't know why that took me so long to think of. Anyway, so this movie is starring Patrick Swayze, and it's basically, I shouldn't say basically, it's a whole lot of him kicking a whole lot of ass, this entire movie, because he is a bouncer at a bar, but he also has a mixed martial arts background, so he knows what he's doing, and this man approaches him when he's at this bar in New York and asks him if he wants to come down to fix this bar called the Double Deuce, and he accepts the offer because I guess he'd be making better money and he's sick of the New York scene, I suppose, and he kind of wants to get away from whatever is plaguing him in his life in the big city. So he decides that he is going to go down to this bar. I'm assuming, yeah, it says in the Midwest, so it's somewhere in America. Anyway, so he goes down and he goes down to this bar called the Double Deuce to clean it up. So he is in charge of all the floor stuff. The first night he gets there, there's this mesh fencing in front of the band, and all the music was actually done, or a majority of the music was done in this movie by just the band alone, whose frontman was Jeff Healey. So I believe it was just the Jeff Healey band is how they credited it. So Dalton is the main character, played by Patrick Swayze, and he knows Jeff Healey. So, I mean, I guess he's already acquainted with some of the people in the bar. Anyway, he begins to fire some of the employees, and they're not very happy about it. They retaliate in their own way, and this one man, Brad Wesley, seems to own most of the town, or the people in it at least, because I guess he funds a lot of the buildings, because I'm not sure whether they owed him, I guess they owed him money, or somehow they were indebted to him anyway, so he basically owns all of the businesses. He owns the liquor business, so that's how the bar gets all its booze delivered. So eventually they start to run out of booze, and it seems like Wesley is going to win the battle against Dalton. And then one of Dalton's friends shows up, who he had a brief conversation with earlier on in the movie. Wade Garrett, I believe was his name. Yes, I did get that right. And he starts to fall in love, Dalton starts to fall in love with, was it her uncle? Anyway, they just call her Doc in the movie. Or at least that's how she's credited, as Doc. And he starts to fall in love with her. So obviously this doesn't make Wesley, or Brad Wesley, any happier. So he starts to go after the people that Dalton cares about most. He ends up killing Wade Garrett, because it basically comes down to that in his mind after Dalton kills his best man, who was referred to as a pet because he said about the girl that was with Denise, the girl that was with Wesley through most of this movie. He said, if you're going to have a pet, keep it on a leash. That's what Dalton said to him. So who was... Geez, I can't find him here for whatever reason. Was it this guy? No, that couldn't have been him. Weird. Anyway, I can't find the guy that was Wesley's main man for whatever reason. Unless he's up here somewhere. It's not really that big of a deal, I guess. But anyhow, Dalton ends up killing him in the same way that there's this story that Dalton once killed a guy by ripping out his jugular. So he kills this guy in the exact same way after it looks like he might actually lose the fight. But I guess Patrick Swayze doesn't really lose too many battles in this because he either gets saved by his buddy Wade, who seems to be a pretty good fighter, a little bit older obviously, and otherwise he just beats the living crap out of anybody else in this movie who even tries to take him on because he's just that far superior of a fighter, as opposed to these guys who think they're just rough and tough and can take on anybody, and then they get proven quite wrong. So throughout the movie, Wesley decides that he is going to take it upon himself to basically destroy all the businesses that he owns, I guess, in order to pretty much run everybody out of town and make them rely on him even more. But it ends up backfiring him in the movie when Dalton finally makes it into his house after he has killed Wade Garrett. After Wesley has killed Wade Garrett. And all of the store owners come back, including the bar owner. And they're actually the ones who put the finishing touches on Wesley and blast him with a shotgun, I don't know, 5 or 6 times, I think, between the 3 or 4 of them that were there. Because he blows up the man's house that Dalton was renting from. He blows up the auto parts store. He runs over all the cars in the dealership. And obviously he caused a lot of issues at the bar. So I guess the bar owner was just saying, he does say at the end of the movie too, Wesley, this is our town and don't you forget it, because Wesley was always saying that to them. He's like, this is my town, don't you guys forget it. Wesley did try to offer Dalton a job if he owned a bar, and Dalton basically tells him no amount of money could ever make me come work for you. And I guess he's murdered 2 people now, Dalton has, because I guess the last one was over some woman wherever he used to be. Him and Wade have a conversation about it, and I guess this guy pointed a gun in his face, so Wade said, you have to make a decision. You either kill the guy or you die right there. It's really up to you. So, in the end, I wouldn't say really anybody was... This is kind of one of those movies where it's like the lesser of 2 evils. You kind of have to choose. And obviously, Dalton's side was, I guess, the lesser of 2 evils in this. And it was the Doc's relationship with him was kind of weird because she does fall in love with him. And then when she finds out that he's kind of the same as her uncle, I believe it was her uncle, she starts to become distant with him, and then when Dalton isn't sure which one Wesley's going to kill, her or Wade, he decides that he's going to take them both away from this town and get out of there, but by the time he's made it back to the bar, Wade's dead. So then we go to the end of the movie again where him and Wesley have this fight, and Wesley ends up dying in the process too, and then the Doc gets back together with him for whatever reason. It seems kind of odd, but I guess I guess maybe she forgave him. They never really touched on that. But I guess she loved him enough to stay with him anyway. So I guess that was kind of a good thing for Dalton anyhow. I guess she forgave his transgressions. Is that the right word? His wrongdoings. She forgave him for all his wrongdoings. Because I guess maybe she saw it as he didn't kill Wesley in the end. He only killed the guy that was trying to kill him, so I guess maybe it was more of a self-defense thing. That's how she saw it, but anyhow, nobody was really the better man in this movie, I wouldn't say, because they both did the wrong thing, in my opinion. One of them could have walked away from the situation and just, especially Wesley probably, could have walked away from the situation, seeing as he already had money. What else did he have to gain from this? And even Dalton could have walked away from it too, because he could have just found another bar to go to and clean up. He could have said, this one's far beyond my expertise. I can't do this. You guys are going to have to find a new way. But I guess he was a man of honor in a way and wanted to prove that to himself that he doesn't lose, I guess, was his theory. Anyhow, kind of odd, but it was still a really good movie, action-packed, and the sound, or the music in this movie was really well done for a bar movie, but I guess maybe this was kind of like Midwest down south sort of thing, was the vibe I got, so yeah, but really good movie, lots of action for sure, and a really good storyline, and it actually explained most of the backstory as to what happened to him and why he was trying to escape from his old life, obviously, and start anew. So, yeah, I give this movie a 10 out of 10. No, maybe not a 10 out of 10. Yeah, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for this movie. It stands the test of time. Unfortunately, some of the actors in this movie have passed away since this film has been made, because this was from 1989. So yeah, unfortunately I don't think there will ever be a sequel, but I mean, I don't think you could redo this film nowadays anyway. You might be able to do it with a new cast, but I don't think it'd compare to the original, that's for sure, if you did try to remake it. But maybe if you got the right people, it'd have to be a very similar type cast. I mean, Sam Elliott's still alive, so maybe you could do a movie with him where he kind of like passes the torch on to a younger pupil. That could be interesting, possibly. I suppose that was kind of like the idea in this one anyway, so maybe that would just be a little weird, but anything is possible, right? But yeah, 10 out of 10 for this movie, and I think I've covered everything that I can cover now. So please like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it. If not, please go watch this movie. It was a really good one. Great storyline. Obviously some good lessons to learn what to do and what not to do in certain situations on both sides, for sure. Because you'll end up somewhere where you definitely don't want to be, it seems, at the end of this movie anyway. And yeah, there were lessons to learn in this movie, both good and bad. And obviously this is a fictional film, so I don't think this probably would have turned out too well for Dalton in real life, but it's a movie, so it's based on your interpretation of what you would think would happen, I guess, if you were living that life. So anyhow, that's all I have to say for this film, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.